Avery Pitts and I play as Annabeth. I'm Gigi Green and I play as Clarice.
I'm Sophie Purple and I play as Nancy.
I'm James Sport and I play as Grover. And I'm Ace Red and I play as Percy Jackson.
Welcome to Percy Jackson
Comic-Con
2025.
When Rome's in ruins, we are the lions. I am Jean Comic, and I am the interviewer at Comic-Con. And I'm here at the Percy Jackson Comic-Con. And I have Ace here that plays as Percy Jackson.
Percy is an adventure boy like me.
So how did you get to be the voice of Percy Jackson in the movie?
Well, I loved the books when I was a little kid. And I loved the show when I was a little kid. So I loved Percy Jackson my whole entire life. But then someone calls me and said, "Do you want to be the voice of Percy Jackson?" And I said, sure, I guess. And then I auditioned. And then the next day, he called me again and said, "Denise, I got the part." So I was really excited that I got it. So that's how I got to play as Percy Jackson.
That's great. What was your favorite part doing this movie?
My favorite part doing this movie, I loved hanging out with my friends in the movie because I was really happy that I got to see all my friends again. So that's my favorite part.
Well, I hope you have a great time at Comic-Con.
Thank you very much.
Now I am here with James Sport, that played as Grover.
Hello there.
How did you feel when you first started doing Percy Jackson?
I was really scared and I'm really nervous because I was worried about if I did not book Grover or not. And next day he called me and said, "I booked Grover," and I was really excited and I wasn't nervous before because I get nervous a lot. I stutter a little bit, but I was pretty excited.
How did it feel like having goat legs in the movie for the first time?
Okay, well, it was really crazy because I thought they were gonna make me ride a goat and animate the legs on my legs, but they said no, you're not gonna do that to kids. So they decided that I needed to wear these dark black pants and these dark shoes. So I agreed with it and it was really crazy having goat legs in the movie for the first time because I never had animal legs in any of my movies that I did. So it was really crazy.
What was your favorite part about doing this movie?
Going to new places because the place where we went to go see Annabeth's play. I never been to a place before, and the place outside of the place, it was really cool. So that was my favorite part doing the movie.
Well, I hope you have a fun day at Comic-Con and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much. Adios, amigos.
Now I am here with Avery Pitts that play as Annabeth.
Hello.
What was your favorite thing about doing Annabeth?
My favorite thing about doing Annabeth would probably be is that she's nice. In the movie that we did, she was really nice to Percy and Grover, but she was still nice though. But in the book, she's nice sometimes, but not all the time. But yeah, but in the book, she's still nice.
So, if you had a place to pick in the book, where would you go?
I would probably model to the campsite in the book because in the book with the pictures, the campsite is kind of cool. So that's where I want to go.
Well, have a great year at Comic-Con.
Well, gracias.
Now I am here with Sophie Purple that plays as Nancy.
Nancy is a really, really, really mean bully.
How did you get to be voiced as a main character for the first time?
Well, since all my characters that I did were really nice, I always wanted to do a main character. So I asked my mom if she signed me up to do a main character, and she was like, a main character? And I said, yes, I want to do a main character that's a bully. So, so the people called me and said, do you want to play as Nancy? I said, sure, and I auditioned, and then a few days ago, they called me back and said, I got to be the voice of Nancy.
If you are to say anything to Percy, if you're an apology to say to him, what would Nancy say? Apology, but you have to do it in Nancy's voice.
I think Nancy would say,
Percy Jackson, I'm really sorry that I was bullying you and Grover all these years, even when you first came into school, and I'm really sorry. I will never do it again. I'll start being nice to you. So, are you gonna forgive me or not?
You can do that voice really easily. It sounds like Ace and James's voice.
I know because I did a voice for Baby Boy before, and I had to use that voice to do his voice. So, and I can do that voice really easily, even when I'm talking to somebody. So, like, sometimes when I'm talking to my mom, sometimes that voice pops up in my mouth, and she's like, oh, why do you sound like a kiddo? And then, why do you sound like your friends? I said, oh, because I can do that voice really easily. So, yes, I can do that voice really easily when it comes out of my mouth.
Well, have a fun day at Comic-Con, Sophie.
Thank you, you too.
Now I'm here with Gigi Green, the voice of Clarice.
Hello.
I only have one question. So how did you get to be in Percy Jackson?
How I got to be the voice of Clarice was that, Clarice was also me, and I was kind of a bully sometimes when people were bothering me. So, my mother, called the director and said that my daughter wants to be the voice of Clarice, and then I auditioned, and then I booked it, and I got to be the voice of Clarice.
Well, have fun at Comic-Con. Now I am here with Nature that plays as Luke, and I have one question for him. So, what is your favorite thing about Luke? My favorite thing about Luke is that he's nice at camp, and he's really nice to Percy. But in the book he wants a truck, he'll Percy so. And, he's really nice, so that's much thing about Luke. Not the part where he's mean to Percy. Well, have fun at Comic-Con. Gracias. Hey, thank you.
The gods are real, like the Greek gods.
Like the ones you learned about but weren't paying attention to. Well, they don't pay attention to you either, especially if you're their kid.
The gods have godly things to do, godly places they need to see,
Godly plans they need to make that don't include me. Yeah, the gods are real, and they have kids, and those kids.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tony Lights, and I'm the director of the Percy Jackson movie. And today we're in a fun time at Comic-Con. First, we're gonna introduce the actors in there on stage. First, we have the voice of Percy. He is an adventure boy. His nickname is Boy. He was in Percy Jackson. He was in Daycare Story inside of the movie. And he was also in Up Jackson shows that he's been reading known Percy Jackson his whole entire life. Meet Ace Red, the voice of Percy. Ace, would you like to say the next person?
Sure. The next person is really amazing. He's good at sports. He plays soccer. He was in Daycare Story 1 and 2. He was Grover from Percy Jackson, and he does a lot of full shows. Meet James Sport, the voice of Grover. Now, I will say the next person. She's really nice. She was in Percy Jackson, She was also in Daycare Story 1 and 2. She played as Annabeth, and she's a really, really nice girl. Me, Avery, pitched the voice of Annabeth.
Avery, would you like to say the next person?
Sure, I guess. This person is really nice. She's my best friend. And she was in Percy Jackson. And she was also in Daycare Story 1 and 2. And she is like a really, really nice. She was also in Kissing Names the New Neighbor. And she's a really, really nice person. Meet Sophie Purple, the voice of Nancy.
Now I will be the next person. She is a little mean sometimes, but she's so nice. She was in Percy Jackson. She was in Daycare Story in some parts of the movie, and she was in other movies and shows. Meet Gigi Green, the voice of Clarice.
Now this is the last person that's coming up. He is a great actor. He was in Sunny and Friends. Percy Jackson, he played as Lupin Jackson. He was in Teens and other shows. Meet Nature Garden, the voice of Luke.
The first thing that we're gonna do is read the Percy Jackson book, but we have a script of the book. So the actors are gonna read it, but they're not gonna read in their own voices. They're gonna read in their Percy Jackson voices from the movie, like their voices. So, let's get started on the reading. For example, Sophie, can you do Nancy's voice?
Hello, I'm Nancy, and I'm a bully at Percy Jackson School because that's how I am.
So those are the voices that the actors are gonna use. So, let's get started.
Chapter 1. I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth and try to lead a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time, it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. I envy you for being able to believe that my short, miserable life to prove it. But things really started going bad last May when our 6th grade class took a field trip to Manhattan. 28 mental case kids and 2 teachers on a yellow school bus heading to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at ancient Greek and Roman stuff. I know, it sounds like torture. Most Yancey field trips were. But Mr. Bruner, our Latin teacher, was leading this field trip, so I had hopes. Mr. Bruner was this middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning hair and a scruffy beard and a frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons, so he was the only teacher whose class didn't put me to sleep. I hoped the trip would be okay. At least, I hoped that for once I wouldn't get in trouble. Boy, was I wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school, when we went to the Saratoga battlefield, I had this accident with the Revolutionary War cannon. I wasn't aiming for the school bus, but of course I got expelled anyway. And before that, at my 4th grade school, when we took a behind-the-scenes tour of the Marine World Shark Pool, I sort of hit the wrong lever on the catwalk, and our class took an unplanned swim. And the time before that, well, you get the idea. This trip, I was determined to be good. All the way into the city, I put up with Nancy Bobofit, the freckly red-headed kleptomaniac girl, hitting my best friend Grover in the back of the head with chunks of peanut butter and ketchup sandwich. Grover was an easy target. He was scrawny. He cried when he got frustrated. He must have been held back several grades, because he was the only 6th grader with acne and the start of a wispy beard on his chin. On top of all that, he was crippled. He had a note excusing him from PE for the rest of his life because he had some kind of muscular disease in his legs. He walked funny, like every step hurt him, but don't let that fool you. You should have seen him run when it was enchilada day in the cafeteria. Anyway, Nancy Boba Fett was stirring wads of sandwich that stuck in his curly brown hair, and she knew I couldn't do anything about it back to her because I was already on probation. The headmaster had threatened me with death by in-school suspension if anything bad, embarrassing, or even mildly entertaining happened on this trip. I'm going to kill her, I mumbled. Grover tried to calm me down. It's okay, I liked peanut butter. He dodged another piece of Nancy's lunch. That's it. I started to get up, but Grover pulled me back to my seat. You're already on probation, he reminded me. You know who'll get blamed if anything happens. Looking back on it, I wished I'd decked Nancy Boba Fett right then and there. In-school suspension would have been nothing compared to the mess I was about to get myself into. Mr. Brunner led the museum tour. He rode up front in his wheelchair. It blew my mind that this stuff had survived for 2,000, 3,000 years. He gathered us around a 13-foot-tall stone column with a big sphinx on the top and started telling us about how it was a grave marker. A steal for a girl about our age. He told us about the carvings on the sides. I was trying to listen to what he had to say because it was kind of interesting, but everybody around me was talking, and every time I told them to shut up, the other teacher chaperone, Mrs. Dobbs, would give me the evil eye. Mrs. Dobbs is this little math teacher from Georgia who always wore a black leather jacket, even though she was 50 years old. She looked mean enough to ride a Harley right into your locker. She had come to Yancey halfway through the year when our last math teacher had a nervous breakdown. From her first day, Mrs. Dobbs loved Nancy Boba Fett.
The next thing that we're gonna do is sing 2 Percy Jackson songs. All of them are gonna sing one song, and then Sophie and Gigi are gonna sing us another song. So, let's get started.
The gods are real, like the Greek gods.
Like the ones you learned about but weren't paying attention to. Well, they don't pay attention to you either, especially if you're their kid.
The gods have godly things to do, godly places they need to see,
Godly plans they need to make that don't include me. Yeah, the gods are real and they have kids, and those kids have issues.
Daddy doesn't love me and mommy's a god.
Mommy can protect me and daddy is a god.
Mommy is too busy and daddy is too busy. Busy, 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 busy being a god. Yeah, you never listen to me, you never listen. You never listen to me, you never listen up. You never listen, but now you're gonna listen, 'cause it's time you heard our side of the story. It's time you heard our story.
You wanna know whose house you're fighting for? The god of strategy, the god of war, the god of water, or the god of death. Before you take your final breath, God of messengers will take a note. You're gonna drown, you ain't gonna float. You're gonna lose, yeah, you missed the boat. It's gonna be bloody murder, Sharon. I'll put you in. I'll put you in your place. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in your place.
We have to beat her.
Don't worry, Athena always has a plan. Every demi has a special skill.
Special skill.
Speed or brains or the strength of will.
Strength of will.
But she's gonna take a special spell right to the bottom of the biggest hill. Don't make a move, don't make a break. But you losers are a total drag. I feel your spirit starting to sag. She can capture your heart. I'm gonna capture the flame. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in your place.
Now it's time for a Q&A.
So this question is for Ace and James. So how did you guys become best friends like Percy and Grover?
I met James out of soccer practice, and I was really upset because I didn't know how to play soccer really well. So, James came up to me and out beat Gilbert, and then he taught me how to play soccer. And then I taught Ace how to play soccer really, really well. And then how we became best friends is we went to the same school and the same camp. And then we started talking to each other a lot. And now we became best friends. So that's how we became best friends like Percy and Grover.
This question is for Sophie. How did you get to play as a mean character, like Nancy?
Well, it was really tricky because I always wanted to do a mean character because all the characters that I did were nice, and I always wanted to do a mean character. So I asked my mom I want to do a mean character, and she was like, a mean character? And I said, yes, I want to do a mean character. That's really mean. So Tony Lights calls me and asked me if I want to audition for Nancy, and I said sure, and then I auditioned. I took 2 auditions actually, and then a few days later, he called me and said, I booked Nancy. I get to play as Nancy. So that's how I got to be the voice of Nancy.
This question is for the kids. Did you guys have the same auditions?
No.
Because the kids' auditions were a little bit different, because they had different characters. So theirs auditions were a little bit different.
Can you talk about it?
Ace, you go first and we'll go in order.
Okay, so my audition for Percy was I had to read the lines from the book and the movie. The live action movie, so to read that, and I had to read chapter 3 of the book but Percy's lines. So I had to read it in my normal voice because we were doing a Percy Jackson movie of the kids, how they would be if they were kids. So I had to use my normal voice because my kid voice sounds like a kid. Like, it just sounds like a normal kid. So, I had to read that, and then a few days later, I had to take another audition again. I had to read the Percy Jackson play that they did at like a concert or something. So I had to wait until they called me back to see if I booked it and see if I up to the part. And then a few days later, they called me and said I booked it. I get to play as Percy Jackson. So that was my audition for Percy. So my audition for Grover was that I had to act like really scared because Grover was scared of stuff sometimes. So I had to read Grover's lines of him being scared. And then I had to read his normal way, how he acts normal. And then I had to read the parts of the show, of the Percy Jackson show that came out a few years ago. So, I read that, and then a few days later, I got a text message, and they said I booked Grover. So I got to play as Grover.
How I got to play as Annabeth was that I had to act like Percy's enemy because in the show and the book, Percy and Annabeth were kind of like enemies a little bit. So I had to act like that, and then I had to read the book, the parts that Annabeth was in. So I had to read that, and then I got a Discord call, and then they said I booked Annabeth. So that's how I got to be as Annabeth, and that was my audition for Annabeth.
How I got to be Nancy was that Nancy was really, really mean, so I had to act like Nancy was being like a bully, so I had to act like a really, really mean bully. So I had to act like that, and I had to read the lines when Nancy was being mean to Percy and Grover, so I had to read that. And then the next day, I booked Nancy, so that's how I got to do Nancy.
How I got to do Clarice is that I had to the same thing that Sophie did, like ads like that Clarice was mean, but she was a little bit different than Nancy. Like, Clarice did meaner stuff than Nancy did, so I had to act like that, and I had to read and act like all the stuff that Clarice did, and then the next day, I booked Nancy Clarice, so that's how I got to be Clarice.
Okay, this is actually a weird and kind of good story because how I got to be the voice of Luke. First they would pick a adult, and when they found Leroy Coleman, it said he was an adult and they said no. Then you find a teenager. So, when they found out that I was a really good gamer, they found me and it said I am 14 years old, which I'm not 14, I'm 15 now. So, here. They wanted me to audition for Luke because they texted me and on Discord and said they want me to do Luke. So I said, sure, I can do Luke. And then I auditioned for Luke. I had to read the parts where he was pretending to be Percy's friend, but then he wanted to kill Percy. So I had to read that. So, and then a few days later, Tony Rives called me and said, all right, put Luke. So that's how I got to play as Luke. We're gonna do one more thing and then we're gonna say goodbye. The last thing that we're gonna do is sing the Percy Jackson theme song. So let's get started singing.
Welcome to camp.
When you're beaten and you're bloody and your face down in the mud, when the heartbeats try to eat you, you're on fire, there's a flood. You can bet that you're on the shore of Camp Half-Blood. You can bet that you're on the shore of Camp Half-Blood. Camp Half-Blood, where only half of us survive. Camp Half-Blood, be glad you're still alive. Camp Half-Blood, where only half of us survive. Camp Half-Blood, be glad you're still alive!
This is why no one watches the orientation film.
Here is a special goodbye message from the Percy Jackson actors.
Hello, I'm Ace Freg, and I play as Percy. I hope I had a fun and great time at Comic-Con today, and I hope everyone else had a great time at Comic-Con, and I will see you guys soon in the future and other shows I'm in. So, bye-bye. I'm James Spork, and I play as Grover. I hope I had a fun there at Comic-Con also, and I will see you guys soon in the future and other shows that I'm in. So, and I will see you guys really, really soon. So, bye-bye.
I'm Avery Pitch and I play as Annabeth, and I was really happy to be at Comic-Con today, and I hope I'll see you guys soon in the future, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
I'm Sylvia Purple and I played as Nancy, and I was happy to be at Comic-Con today this week, and I am really excited about this, and I hope I'll see you guys soon, and the only thing I have to say now is bye-bye. See you guys next time.
I'm Gigi Green and I play as Clarice, and I was really happy to be here, and I hope I'll see you guys at Comic-Con really, really soon. So, good luck and bye-bye.
I'm Nature Garden and I play as Luke. I had a great time at Comic-Con. It was one of the best days ever, and I was really happy to be here. And I hope I'll see you right soon in the future. And I'll see you right next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you and goodbye.